got it? Okay.
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First things first is to ask if there's any general commentary or questions, inquiries from the public, just to make sure that you have that opportunity. And if you are going to speak, to also confirm that you have signed in properly to register. Anybody want to speak at this point in time? Okay. Then I would call the regular.
Roll. Oh, sorry.
So-
Roll call.
Oh, is that part of that? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Before we
Okay.
go.
John Everett,
Thanks, Mandy.
Here.
Darrell Webster,
Here.
John Hott,
Here.
Mark Ruth,
Here.
Ted, who is possibly late, or Ted Galushik, and then alternate Jim Corrigan.
Here.
Okay. At this point in time, we'll call the regular meeting to order. The acknowledgement of the minutes, the minutes have been distributed. We'd like to see if there's anybody that has any questions or comments, but otherwise we can entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes.
So noted. Second by John. All those in favor?
I have a correction.
Okay, correction.
Correction.
On the motion for vice chair, you have it listed as Jim Hott, since we had Jim Corrigan and John here. It should be John Hott, I imagine, but it could have been Jim Corrigan.
Where was it?
On the
For vice chair.
final page.
I've got, let's see if I have the right notes.
I believe that I did both of those discussions, so it's already.
Oh, on page 2, there's a mention of Jim Hott on on both of these matters instead of John.
Page.
Page 2.
For the vice chairman?
This is of the minutes, from the minutes that were sent out.
Okay.
It says Jim instead of John.
That's okay, because I'm abstaining.
For the vice chairman?
I believe so.
Was it, you said for the motion for the vice chairman?
Yes, well, on the vote, motion carried, and then right after that.
Okay, I must have corrected them after I resent them. Okay. Okay. I'll double check that. Where did it go?
And it should be probably John Hott instead of Jim Corrigan. It's a minor thing, because in your roll call, you have it listed as correctly, so.
Corrigan.
Typo.
Okay.
Then you need to vote on it.
So then should we, if there's an edit to the minutes, should we, make sure that they get corrected and then vote on them for the next meeting?
Because they have to sign them, yeah.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have them to, if you wouldn't have them to sign tonight.
Yeah, okay, okay. So
So we will table the roll
Yes.
call on this matter.
for the next meeting, yes.
So the minutes, the approval of the minutes will be tabled at this point in time
Do we table them or
to
do we
make
still do a
necessary
motion to
corrections
table
and
them?
will be revisited on the next meeting.
As long as they're not fast.
Okay.
Regards to our public hearings, we do not have any to note. And then we do have a matter on number 6 for the site plan, and this would be for the car wash. Is anyone here at this point in time representing Finish Line? Yes.
I don't normally read
Did you
it.
sign in?
I did.
Okay, there you go.
I'm Anthony Marsali, from Tucson.
Do you swear to tell this commission the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And can you make sure that that is on? There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Better?
Good.
So I'm proposing to build a new car wash at 1388 Menor Avenue, where the old Ohio Glass Black building is. I don't know what else.
has anything changed since the last time you submitted?
It has not, no.
At this point in time, if you have no further comments that I believe, then it would be, up for conversation and questions from the board, to Anthony. So with that in mind, anybody have any directed questions? I do have one, just more historically. You were in front of the zoning commission a while back,
Correct.
and it's been tabled since. Is there any particular history or background to that?
Why it happened, you mean?
Just curious on our,
The main reason was I couldn't get the equipment in time, so, because of COVID, I mean, so that was the main reason.
I was on the board when you brought here before, I guess, but, I noticed that you have about 20 parking spaces there. Is that for employees or is that for people, are there vacuums in this car wash van?
I believe there's 16 vacuum spots and then the other 4 are for the employees.
So they would
sure, right? Yeah.
vacuum first and then get
They
back in
vacuum,
line?
the customers vacuum first and then back up and then they come around to the auto sentries.
And of course, they're all separate instead of one. Well, we'll be in that, so I don't wanna go through all. Not two, not three. Probably closer to
Did
this.
we have a drawing of the building itself?
This is gonna be your closest option.
Yeah,
could you blow that, could you blow that up a bit?
Just one of these is
It's
marked
the same one.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, John, is that what you were referring to?
Yes, the employee parking, you just have one spot there for,
There's gonna be 3 employee parking spaces. There's 2 back here by the dumpster and then 1 here. So they're roughly gonna have 3 to 4 employees at a time. They're never gonna fill up all of the vacuums, so any employee overflow would be located probably at 19 through 20. In terms of if I was running the business, I'd say, keep the front for the people pulling in, so it's easier to pull out. But ultimately, the required parking spaces as a whole, unless they shut down vacuums, they're adequate.
we don't have a drawing of the building itself, right?
The building, like a front rendering.
Right.
So if you guys have,
Is there anything we sent?
I'm trying to think about where I said, where did I put it? You sent it, Rachel, right?
The zoning commission.
Yeah. No, I don't know if it's gonna allow me to do that. This, I think it shows the rendering of it. Why don't we show the final PBA4? Oh, the Zoom is moving.
There you go.
So from when it was previously approved, the only thing that obviously needs to be addressed, that was an oversight, was the signage on the right-hand side, but I've already talked to Anthony and, I've already talked to the sign company, because they're gonna be applying for the variance of, this sign and this sign here. The car wash itself is permitted, because it's car wash and there's not necessarily a brand put on it, and it's car wash and it fits the size per square foot. It has a capped rooftop, so This is what was presented to the trustees previously, and then obviously this is what was previously approved by the board.
So John, did you get,
Yes, I guess I'm probably more educated with car washes since I don't wash my own car too much anymore.
Yeah.
And I see the problems existing with some of the other car washes. And particularly the Zappatellis, where they have a similar hookup like this, but the people can't get off the road, it backs up too far. Now you have 60 cars possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if you'd ever have that many waiting in line at once,
Right.
but, and then, for them to go into the backing spots and then back out into a line of, possibly a full line of,
Pardon me, I'm sorry.
you don't see a problem with people backing out from the vacuum cleaner into the line that goes through the car wash.
No, not at all.
that, based upon the drawing, speaking to John's point, there's a double row of cars on the right. Then there's the spots where they can pull in to do their vacuuming. There's a small amount of space, and it's gonna take courtesy of those drivers to let them back in.
Right, and that's, at my other locations, it's set up just like this.
So it
And
happens.
they're very courteous, yes.
The only problem I can see on that is the movement of a car coming back
Mhm.
and the cars moving forward and then it does seem to be tight.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously have another business of similar, you're saying, not a
Right.
problem?
Yeah, and when they're lined up back that far, saying on the busy winter days like he's talking about at Zappatelli's, the line, the cars are just like creeping slowly
Yeah.
as a line, and then the customers that back out of the vacuums, they just kind of like back out and then they just like merge in. It's
They have room to back out.
they do
without-
have yeah
And
they
then
have
they can go forward
yeah
and
so
then
they
merge, yeah.
right they can do a complete backwards and then merge forward. They can't back up and go out the opposite way,
Okay.
if that's what you're asking me.
And
Okay.
now, did you say you have experience with a similar operation like this, or is this something
Which
new?
you're
for
other-
you?
Yeah, I have one in Wickliffe, Willowick.
Sort
and
of
so-
similar design,
Pardon me?
the same type of design?
Same, exact same setup, yes. And that's the difference between, because you mentioned Zappatelli's, they have one lane going, because they have one auto sentry in the back. If you notice, I have two auto sentries, and that's why it's not gonna get backed up into the street.
You just run one car at a time through the wash.
One car at a time through the
And,
wash.
up
Well,
where they-
not, I mean, the whole tunnel could handle 7 to 8 cars.
Okay.
But it merges to one lane if that's what you're asking. The auto sentries control, so if one gate goes up and then the other auto sentry,
Oh, so
They-
it alternates.
exactly.
Yeah, I wonder about that too, but, and then most people pull right out, or they pull over there and dry off.
They pull right out.
Yeah.
Daryl?
I think it's 80, is it 80 feet? 80 feet
Right up there.
from,
Daryl, hold on.
yeah, we're 80 feet off the street, the front of the exit of the building.
Oh, okay.
It's like 80 feet.
About 5 cars.
4 cars,
Four cars.
right, 4 cars.
Daryl, you have a question?
On the plans I have here in front of me, it shows a tree planted in, parking lot, 3, and at 20, I think it's 21. Right in the parking spot. And then there's one that you show on this, the tree is right on the pavement line, page 12, 7-12.
That's what? It's on a parking spot.
So on the drawings, The property owner used separate, an architect and then engineer to help with the plans. So, you know, when one's doing the plans, he might have accidentally dragged and dropped. I see what you're saying on page 7. Obviously, it won't be a tree. This is the landscaping plan that's up on the screen.
Yeah.
So they plan on having landscaping along the strip to the neighboring property.
Which is fine.
There's not, they would, if they want to put a tree there, I guess you could try. But I mean, there's nothing there now. So, I mean, it's basically going to be along this line here. So.
I just wanted to show us this. I find that kind of strange that they would show them at the end of the parking spot.
Yeah, that's
I don't think I've seen that one.
there's the separation of an engineer versus an architect, I guess.
Yeah.
Is there 20 spots or 21 in that? Because that might be
You
the
see the
difference.
number 21, but
Does
I think
it say-
that's for a pull around.
Well, no, it would probably be part of the island is what I'm thinking.
On here it says 21.
Yeah.
But I bet
So
it's 20 and
1 through 21, and then not including the 3 employee parking spaces that are here.
I just find it kind of strange that you put them in parking spots.
I hope it's not. I haven't seen that drawing, so I don't know.
People are running into them. And the one that, the other one bothered me is it shows here, right on the pavement line.
right
And they're
between the
coming in.
lanes. Right between the lanes.
Can I
You
walk
see it
over and
wet
see that or
strictly
no?
by Cars as they come in.
Can I walk over and see that?
Sure.
Well, those aren't gonna be there.
I just wanna make sure they're not, because
Right.
That's the test. It was a test.
I find them.
I'm Michael Markham, I'm the architect on the project over there.
Yeah. take it.
This is the engineer's idea of landscaping. Not a landscape.
Well, that plan doesn't show what this shows.
Right.
That's the
And
professional.
I wanna make sure that these things aren't going where they show them here.
No, they won't.
I promise they won't be
That's,
I promise you.
that's a formula for disaster.
I promise you. The difference between an engineer and an architect or a landscape architect is that the engineers can't pass the design courses.
Good eye, though.
Oh, I've worked with these enough.
I see you have 3 employee parking lot spaces in various positions, but also where the dumpsters are located is, are you gonna be able to get a truck in there to pick that up?
For the pickup, the big truck for, what truck? I mean, the garbage truck?
Yeah, when they're in operation?
Mm-hmm. So they're coming in on the, we're calling it what, the escape route, right, Mike? They're coming on the,
They'll come in through.
west side, right? They're coming in on the west side, right?
Oh, so I think the problem that I'm seeing here is different drawings.
Okay,
From what you had before.
I'm sorry.
So the dumpster's in the rear of the property. A dumpster coming middle of the day is probably very obsolete on Menor Avenue. So if they're gonna come, they're either gonna be super early, or then they're gonna basically come around through the side of the vacuums, pull in, load up, and then dip out the other side, just not fit through the wash. So most of the drawings do show the dumpster in the back of the property with that straight there. And ultimately, it almost looks like there's 4 employee parking spaces I'm now seeing, because there's one up front. If you look over on here too, so there's one up front, which still is not within the front setback of where parking is. So it's kind of like a weird buffer area here. So
Is there a parking entrance back here?
I take it the existing
Is there
buildings
an
will come
entrance
down.
road?
Pardon me?
yeah, so it'd just be like a spot.
Yeah.
Well, you're parking here,
But where's the
here,
dumpster?
here,
But where's the
Not really
dumpster
parking
coming
spaces.
from?
Yeah.
here.
And I would,
Is this a road?
No,
And that'll just
yeah,
be
they come up
landscaping.
here, but I'm not gonna turn around back there, I'm not sure exactly.
mostly a place to push snow in the winter.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
So in terms of the best overview is ultimately gonna be like this design here.
Daryl, you have an additional one?
No, I
Jim?
just wanted to make sure that building's coming down, and
Any
you're
questions?
happy to do this, it certainly ain't gonna work with that building there.
I thought everybody wanted the building up.
It's not a historical building. Now you're gonna do some
Oh, you're
problems.
gonna miss it.
Jim?
I'm good, thank you.
John?
I don't have any questions on that.
I'm only speaking from a pure logistical thing, not having been part of the other building or, business that you have.
Mhm.
But there, it just seems rather tight, but again, I don't think that's a fundamental flaw, that's his problem, right? John, do you have any other questions?
I have no other questions.
Okay. So, in the course of the conversations, at this point in time, it's, two options for the board, which was to, consider if there's enough information with which to proceed with a motion or to table the motion to the next meeting. I'm asking.
No, you're good. So, couple things. One, obviously, whenever the motion's made, it needs to be with approval with the variance from the BZA because of the variance in the sign. There was another variance for the setback that was already approved and still in form for side clearance, and then they have their conditional use that's already been approved for the drive-through car wash itself. In working through this, obviously, the only thing that I don't necessarily have, but I think that the Mr. Rapp is trying to get for me is in terms of the ODOT okay. And the only reason why I bring this up is because we have multiple locations on Menor Avenue that have made adjustments to their property, and whether there's current curb cuts there or not, the use of the building has changed. So this is ODOT's road. So you guys can give approval, and then what happens is the minute they start doing work, ODOT sees it and they go, "What you doing?" You know what I mean? And that's what happened down at Popeyes, and that's what happened down at the dispensary. So when Popeyes originally came in, their drawings all had a curb cut here. I know they're changing the curb cut, but ODOT said no dice. ODOT was asked to move the curb here to more center line with here. ODOT says the use is changing. So it's going from a car dealership parking lot to a dispensary, so ODOT's making them do a couple things application-wise in terms of all that fun stuff. So,
Which extends their time.
correct. So it's not saying you guys can approve this, but with obviously there's the conditions of passing the variance for the sign, and then getting the approval from ODOT. That's from a staff standpoint, just because Menor Avenue right now has been forever in my vocabulary. Same thing with this property here. Just a prime example, there are two curb cuts here, but if a small coffee shop wanted to go there, ODOT is looking at it saying the use is changing. So they need to know how much flow you're coming in, how much flow is not coming in, versus, coffee's gonna get a lot more than vacuum repair. So, and that's the only thing, because obviously I've resubmitted most of these to all the departments to get resubmitted. Stormwater gave me his list of stuff. And then, the planning says obviously ODOT's been on some form of something lately. So, that would be the only thing, because I would not want ODOT to say, yeah, no dice on this, and then they have to come back to you guys because they're having to change the whole front layout. Does that make sense?
Pretty much.
So are you going to need the curb cut?
He has curb cuts, he's not gonna need the curb cut, he just needs ODOT's approval for using the existing curb cuts.
Oh, I
Because
see.
the use changed, so, cause most of the time, there's probably one use on this one, like, I don't even know why it's such a long driveway, I don't even know what you did there, but basically, my
It
whole,
was previously a car wash.
Yeah, wow.
right, so, you know what I mean? But in terms of flow, and, that's a different type of wash versus his belt system is more efficient, but in terms of an ODOT sign off. That's up
So-
to you guys, you're independent, so.
So Sean, what I'm hearing is if a motion is made, it should include, subject to approval of variances in ODOT or anything related.
That's what I would say.
Good. With that in mind,
So moved.
so we have a motion
Approve subject to
as
curb
worded with what Sean had said.
Yeah, what Sean
That's-
said.
Rachel, if you could make note with the variances and ODOT approvals, a part of that.
So, did someone make a motion in a second?
Motion would be.
I made the motion.
Okay.
We,
Webster.
and do we have a second?
I'll second it.
John. And I'm gonna just pause for a moment, if I can, in protocol. Ted has just joined us. Would it be fair at all, or allowed in all protocol wise, Mandy, to interrupt to see if he has a question as a board member, or is that, again, inappropriate? We certainly have this as a new situation for us.
Certainly, if he has questions, you can ask.
Ted, would you have any questions related to this before we?
Sean, can you show me the landscaping plan, please?
Same as submitted before, and
Make sure, okay,
yeah, he's keeping low bushes in the front, nothing high, nothing out of, like, higher than a boxwood / little,
yeah, it's about
Juniper.
3 feet, no more than 3 feet.
Yep.
Do you need this? Okay.
Thank you very much.
yep.
So, that was my only question on the whole thing. Oh, by the way, did ODOT okay the haircut?
That's, that's one of the requirements.
Oh,
Yeah.
under the, okay.
Under the.
I listened to
conditions
the
of
last
approval.
video.
Pending
I listened to the last one.
their
We have
approval,
two
right?
Okay.
conditions of approval, variance as well as, the ODOT approvals.
Okay.
Contingent. So with,
But it's
Welcome.
existing, it's an existing curb cut though, right?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Okay.
so having accepted Ted's questions relevant to that, we now have a second on the motion, and I would ask for a roll call.
Mark Ruth,
Yes.
alternate Jim Corrigan,
Yes.
Dara Webster,
Yes.
John Everett,
Yes.
John Hott,
Yes,
and legal wise, can I?
Well, he's here and he got the packet before. He asked questions. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with him voting, but you can also choose to abstain if you feel like you weren't here for the entire discussion.
Even though I wasn't here for the whole thing, I'm gonna abstain. My vote would have been yes anyhow, so I'm gonna put that stuff.
Oh, sorry, Ted Galushik, abstain.
Officially.
oh, did you change it to yes vote?
I should have, yeah, I'm sorry.
It sounded like you had changed it to a yes vote.
Okay, so that has been, thank you, Anthony,
Thank you very much.
appreciate your time.
Good luck to you guys.
Thank you.
You can leave, you don't have to stay. If you wanna just.
Oh, wait,
Thank you.
Welcome. Take care, guys.
Okay,
here's your.
Thank you very much.
at this time, I see no
The-
new business that needs to be attended to,
I missed.
according to the agenda. Pardon me? Okay, at this point in time, that was a good question that we had earlier. I will step down in that role because Ted is here.
Okay. We have no, Mark, we have no new business. Old
need to-
business, you have any old business at all? Stay right there. Stay right there, I'm gonna let you see, you don't have to go. Stay right there, Joe.
He's taking over his chair. Yes.
Okay,
Why don't you pass it-
alright, you okay?
pass that down?
Alright,
So we can see.
we had no public hearing, correct? No public hearing, correct? So zoning inspector's report, text change sections.
So, do you all have a piece of paper with a little bit of yellow highlight on it?
Okay.
So these are the couple sections that probably will be seeing in the next month or two in terms of coming to set for public hearing, for basically reading them and making text amendments. Section 32, the FPD. Ultimately, we've had multiple issues between county and township level of sidewalk size. County requires 4 foot, trustees like 5 foot. We can eliminate this by ultimately adding a section in our FPUD requiring 5 foot because they need to meet that to then go forward. Problem solved. On the reverse end of that, if we didn't want any sidewalks like Concord says no sidewalks permitted. Even though county requires it, township doesn't, we supersede that in our text. So it would just be a simple section underneath walkways. Walkways shall be constructed suitable hard surfaces of no less than 5 feet. So ultimately, I just think that you guys can look at these sections and then understand that why I'm ultimately going to be addressing some of their, so like billboards,
Excuse me, Sean,
just removing.
go back to the sidewalks.
Yeah.
If a developer comes in with a FPUD
Mm-hmm.
and they have no sidewalks in the development at all,
Mm-hmm.
are we gonna force them to put sidewalks in, or does this mean that if they do decide to put sidewalks in the FPUD, they shall be 5 feet if we adopt this?
Yeah, so unless it's a private road, the trustees are never gonna allow no more sidewalks. So they want sidewalks like everywhere, like they want sidewalks so bad that they're trying to get grants to put them on Bacon.
Okay,
Yeah, so sidewalks are
okay,
gonna be.
I just wanna make,
Oh, yeah.
I'm just asking the question.
Mhm.
Okay, thanks. I'm sorry.
So, questions on that one? So like section 28, so this is in regards to signage, billboards, just we're looking at removing billboards as a whole. Sections 1 through 7 in the billboards. It's just not something the township has a vision for, of seeing a bunch of 35-foot billboards. So ultimately, that would just be a removal from the section. Section 8.04A and section 9.04B, there is new ORC code that allows us to remove our ads from newspapers. And in section 804A, it states in there that we will be publishing a newspaper, but we no longer need to do that. Ultimately, we can post it to our Facebook page and our website. So it saves on posting any public notice meeting to those locations. So I just gotta find what most townships are doing and basically change our verbiage. Section 1202I, car washes, remove permitted in B2 and 3. They've already been removed from other text areas, but underneath the conditional use areas, it still says permitted in B2 and 3. After discussion, changing it in conjunction with gas stations only. So if Sheetz were wanting to open and they have a gas station and a car wash, they would be permitted to get it their conditionally used up added in there. So you couldn't have a standalone car wash in B1, 2, or 3, but if you were to open a gas station, you can have that coincide with it, because there's no way you're going to put a 50-foot, car wash that the last one was 300 feet long, right? So you're gonna basically do a smaller one like sheet softwares, and I'm only using them as an example. And then electronic message board section is a mess. So been here for 3.5 years and no one has applied for a message reader board digitally until more recently. And after reading through it, it's not designed in favor of anything good. So I just have to look and reevaluate that. So if you guys just wanted to do some homework and read through those sections so you can kind of see like what I'm looking at, and then if you have any thoughts or opinions, you can email me on the side. If not, then ultimately I'm gonna make the text, talk to the trustees, they're gonna say yay or nay, and then I go to present it to the planning commission, they go, hey, this is legal. And then I present it to you guys look at it as I'm doing it right now. And then you give your feedback on it then, and during the public meetings and the readings and so on and so forth.
All right, you gave some homework to do, okay. Thank you. Anything else, any other questions or concerns on what, Sean said about these text changes that are gonna be coming at us next few months? Hearing no,
Hey, I have one question real quick. This is a mess. What does that mean exactly?
So when you
It's
open the section and you
pretty vague.
read it, it's a mess. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's saying no flashing lights more than this many things. You can have up to 300 square foot of a message board, but you can only use 20% of it. You wouldn't have a 300 square foot message board and only be able to use 20% of it. So
Now I
it's
understand.
8 seconds between each thing. Each letter can be no more than 6 inches, and it's a mess. So when you read it, you're gonna go, I don't know what I can and can't do with the message board here.
I
So
was on the board when they approved this before, and everything came into existence, even the brightness of the light, because sometimes you'll see one that's so bright, it almost distracts from your driving safety. There was other places like Riverside High School, and places where we really don't have authority to enforce things much on state property or on county, other areas. Then of course the freedom of speech came into mind too, and it never did really get enforced.
well, the other thing too, John, is in 2010, when it was adopted, the lighting is changed in the last 15 years. I mean, LED is now is the norm, and it's not as light intrusive, to the driver, like the old one was before. So we may have to just update those standards, and
Even
go from there.
even the seconds that the sign is up there, detracts if you're waiting for the next sign to come up and you're driving. I mean, there's lots of things that enter into it, so. Most of them I don't think are too bad, I mean.
no, it's just what. So the storage place at the old Scores, you know what I mean. So like he presented a digital board, and ultimately, he had a picture of an eagle on there, but I know he's not going to keep a picture of an eagle on there. You know what I mean? But then it's like, okay, well, I got to make sure when he applies for this that he knows that he can only have this size letter, and you know what I mean. So I had him sign off, acknowledging, following our procedures in there. It's like, hopefully you understand the procedures because I'm still learning them. I just need to see what other people do for reader boards, and then we just need so it's simplified. Because right now there is check this box to check this box to check this box. So.
Okay. Any other questions concerning the proposed amendment changes, at least what we're gonna be looking at? Hearing none. Any other further business, come before the commission?
I take it these are replacements, the ones that have the holes in them.
Yeah, those are previous text changes that we just did that will replace what's in your book.
Something to look at.
Shouldn't do the right fit.
Jim,
Well, I understand there's no real changes on this existing text messages right now, right? Sean?
There is no current text changes. This is.
It's just what it currently is right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other any other business? Hearing none? Oh,
I'll get you up to date after the meeting, but going forward for I can never say it.
Adjournment.
Thank you. We now have to do a motion and a second and a vote.
to,
Close to end.
I just say
the
close it.
meeting.
No.
Normally, that's what we would do, but our administrator wants us to now do a motion and a second and a vote to
adjourn the meeting?
Yeah.
And start it? Just adjourn it?
just adjourn it.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:11.
So moved.
Second.
Okay? A roll call, please. Oh, and any discussion on the motion to adjourn? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Okay, John Everett?
Yes.
Wait a minute. John Hott?
Yes.
Mark Ruth?
Yes.
Darrell Webster?
Yes.
Ty Galushik?
Yes.
I'll catch you up to date.
I'll wait for that. Okay.
Are we also, since Jim, can I ask him to do?
He can do it. It'll be fine.
Okay, alternate Jim Corrigan.
Yes.
Motion carried. Meeting adjourned. Okay.
Good job, Bill.
Need something to sign?
Okay, so there were
Yeah.
edits I have
He
to
just
make
put
to the